In March 2021, at a major Chinese Communist Party meeting, top party leader Xi Jinping had 2 teacups in front of him, while other leaders had only 1 teacup. When the waiter poured water, a new cup was brought in instead of using the existing cup. There is speculation that this is a measure to prevent Xi from being poisoned. Let's look at another scene.
This year, observers noticed from the video released by the official CCP media that there were several young men sitting at the tables around the main table, forming a defensive ring. One netizen posed a question: "Who can tell me what these men in the circle are for?" A reasonable deduction: these are Xi Jinping's personal guards. On the one hand, they fend off any potential threat. On the other hand, they help maintain order.
Assassination has always existed in the CCP's internal power struggle, but it's usually secretive, and the Communist Party does not want the Chinese public to know about it. However, it seems harder to conceal it now. This past September 30th, Sun Lijun, the former Vice Minister of Public Security, was officially announced to have been expelled from the party and dismissed from public office. On October 2nd, a central government's verdict was handed down concerning the disciplinary review and investigation of the former Minister of Justice, Zhenghua. These 2 cases have shaken the CCP officialdom. Observers believe that there appears to be an organized anti-Xi operation taking place from within the public security system. Moreover, Xi is trying to destroy the political and economic base of his party rivals. Sun, the former Vice Minister of Public Security, was described as having extremely inflated political ambitions, forming a gang to control key departments, and seriously endangering political security. At the top of the CCP's pyramid of power are the 7 members of the Politburo Standing Committee. Previously publicly labeled as politically ambitious were 6 prominent senior CCP leaders. They include Zhou Yangkang, former member of the Politburo Standing Committee, Bo Xilai, former Politburo member who was expected to succeed the former party leader Jiang Zemin and his faction, and 2 former vice chairmen of the military commission who took orders from Jiang. Compared to the previously mentioned 6 top-ranking officials, Sun, the former Vice Minister of Public Security, is a far cry in rank. His case is, therefore, even more unusual. Many Chinese and foreign media and analysts believe that Sun controlled some individuals in the Ministry of Public Security and organized the assassination of Xi. In Australia, there have been accounts in the media that the Jiang faction backed Sun to assassinate Xi in Wuhan, but the operation failed. In the Communist Party's faction, the top brass train a group of death squads such as swapping out death row inmates with specialized skills or recruiting and funding people with long-standing grievances against political opponents to act as assassins. The report revealed that the former chief of the criminal police force from the Jiangsu Provincial Public Security Bureau, Lo Wenjin, was one of the death squads trained by Sun, and that Lo also had a group of grassroots daredevils around him. The report alleged that in 2020, when the outbreak started in Wuhan, Xi was said to be visiting the city, which Jiang's faction assessed as a good opportunity for assassination. Beijing announced that she would visit Wuhan on March 17th, but in reality, Xi moved up the date to March 10th without any warning. Only his close associates were told the exact date. Xi's visit to Wuhan lasted only 2 to 3 hours in total and was secretly protected by 30,000 military and police officers. The assassination failed for 2 reasons. One is that Xi moved the date, disrupting the original plan. The second involves 2 critical individuals. One is Sun, who felt unsure about the whole operation and fled Wuhan without participating in the assassination, and the other is the commander of the Hubei military region, who reported the assassination plan to Xi, alerting Xi to be on guard. It's difficult to verify the authenticity of the story. However, on September 14, 2021, the Chinese websites Sohu and 163.com both published an article titled "Iron Fist on Those Who Are Blinded by Profit." It revealed that the relevant CCP departments held a briefing session on the judicial gang in Jiangsu headed by Luo. The report explicitly describes Luo and others as even planning to commit wrongdoing when the leaders held a commemorative event in Nanjing that had been stopped by the Security Ministry. This amounts to an unofficial admission by the CCP that the assassination took place. The story has since been deleted. Luo was announced for trial on July 31, 2020. About 2 months or so later, Luo's former superior, former head of the Jiangsu Provincial Public Security Bureau, also voluntarily surrendered. In the official announcement, the charges against Luo's direct superior included participating in a gang within the party, engaging in political speculation, and climbing up the ladder in order to seek personal promotion in his position. This description bears a resemblance to the description of Sun, the Vice Minister of Public Security, which we mentioned earlier. This is not the first time that a top Chinese leader has been assassinated. China's 6th Naval Commander, Zhang Dengfa, was Jiang's henchman. According to overseas media reports, during Jiang's tenure as naval commander in early May 2006, when then Communist Party leader Hu Jintao was inspecting the North Sea Fleet in China's Yellow Sea, 2 warships suddenly opened fire simultaneously on the destroyer Hu was on, killing 5 naval soldiers aboard the destroyer. The destroyer immediately turned around and sailed away at maximum speed. Hu took the ship's helicopter and flew back to the base, not daring to make a stop. Hu did not even bother to fly back to Beijing because Jiang was there and he did not know if Beijing was safe. He opted to fly directly to Yunnan. As commander of the Navy, Jiang left his post in August 2006 due to illness. He died on December 14, 2006. There was no official condolence or eulogy for him, nor was it even mentioned in the official media, which is very odd given that he was not treated as a senior military official in the past. Why then did former party leader Jiang Zemin and his close ally Zheng Chenghong have such a strong incentive to assassinate their successors? In April 1989, Jiang, then secretary of the Shanghai Municipal Party Committee, pandered to the Communist Party's top leadership's policy of using the military to crack down on students and was thus chosen by then party leader Deng Xiaoping. At the end of May, it was decided within the Communist Party's political leadership that Jiang would succeed Deng as party leader. Jiang became the biggest beneficiary of the June 4th massacre on Tiananmen Square in 1989. After Jiang officially took power in late June 1989, he lacked authority and respect among the bureaucracy. He quickly launched a ruling strategy, which was to rule by corruption. Unlike corruption in other societies, under Jiang, CCP officials had been granted assurances that their corrupt conduct would not result in any untoward result. Jiang has a famous slogan, "Amass wealth while keeping a low profile." It directed the people of China not to be concerned with political and state affairs, but rather focus on getting rich. The way he encouraged government officials as a whole and certain people to get rich was to mess up the order of the market economy and to do whatever it took to make money. At the same time, he used various means to destroy traditional Chinese values further. In 1999, Jiang and his group launched a brutal crackdown on Falun Gong, a Chinese spiritual group that an estimated 100 million Chinese people practiced. Based on a recording obtained exclusively by the media outlet Epoch Times, Bo Xinlai, then China's Minister of Commerce and expected successor to Jiang, admitted that Jiang gave the order to harvest the organs of Falun Gong practitioners alive. Since 2000, Falun Gong practitioners have sued Jiang in more than 20 countries and regions worldwide, including the International Hague Court of Justice. The loss of power for Jiang and Zheng's groups means they will not have a secure retirement since they are likely to be put on trial domestically or internationally. So, they have to make sure that their successors are on the same side as they are. However, subsequent party leaders Hu and Xi chose to draw a clear line and distance themselves from Jiang. Therefore, the Jiang Zheng group has not stopped its assassination efforts in order to put in place a successor they are satisfied with. August 12, 2015 marked the 1,000th day since Xi took over as General Secretary of the CCP, the highest position of its power hierarchy. In the morning, the official media took stock of the report card of Xi's governance, and in the evening, the gift of explosion was sent to Xi. That is, the massive 2015 Tianjin explosions. Many clues have suggested that this tragedy was planned and executed by Jiang to intimidate Xi. According to informed sources close to Jiangnan, CCP's central headquarters and the State Council of China, Xi did not sleep for 2 nights after the explosion in Tianjin on August 12th. During Hu's era, it was difficult for him to deal with Jiang's officials in a high-profile manner, even in an assassination, because his power was hollowed out. But Xi's time was different. With the help of Hu, Xi gradually took back some of the power from Jiang and his group. However, to this day, Xi is still facing challenges from Jiang's faction. During his 23 years in power, Jiang has managed to foster an incalculable number of his agents in China's military, police, and financial systems, as well as a vast system of internal and external propaganda. Some of Xi's widely recognized nicknames first came out of the Jiang-controlled propaganda system. If we are aware of this background, it's relatively easier to understand many of the major events in China today. The announcement against Sun also stated that he had gone missing from his duties on the front line of the fight against the COVID outbreak, hid and kept a large amount of classified materials, and used public security methods to defy investigation. On February 10, 2021, the Wall Street Journal reported that Chinese authorities controlled Tencent vice president in early 2020 for his involvement in the Sun's investigation. According to the report, he allegedly provided personal information collected by WeChat to Sun. The Wall Street Journal said Tencent's case meant that several of China's tech giants might be involved in political battles at the top of the CCP's power hierarchy. Since then, we've all witnessed Xi's purge of several tech giants. The Internet Information Office in China has clamped down on tech companies' data security. Now, let's look at the fall of former Justice Minister Fu Zhenghua on October 2nd. The public has described him as the #1 cruel official in the CCP system. For example, Fu invented the glaring eyes shift, which means that all the duty beds in prisons are removed and prison guards are not allowed to sleep and have to keep their eyes open 24 hours a day. After implementing such a policy, many guards died suddenly due to a lack of rest. Even Chinese insurance companies are determined not to sell sudden death insurance to prison guards. Fu, the former justice minister, is also known for his role in the 709 crackdowns in China. Since July 9, 2015, Chinese public security authorities have arrested, summoned, criminally detained, and interviewed hundreds of lawyers and civil rights activists and their relatives in 23 provinces across 2/3 of China, with the whereabouts of some still unknown. Fu has also continued to vigorously enforce the policies left behind by the Jiang faction, launching several nationwide persecution campaigns against Falun Gong. Whether Fu's case is related to Sun's case is still not yet certain. However, it appears the Chinese government is now deliberately trying to tie the two together. Sun is said to be ganging up to plot against the government. China's Caijin magazine reported from sources who did not want to be named that Fu was singled out when the Ministry of Public Security held a meeting about Sun's case on October 1st. Back in 2019, one billionaire from Wuhan wrote a lengthy letter of complaint. He recounted his experience of having his fortune robbed from him and being subjected to a series of inhuman torture. In the letter, this billionaire disclosed that Fu and his minions were extremely arrogant and had even tapped Xi's private phone calls. Fu's henchmen said, "We just want to announce to the outside world that it's Xi who has ordered your arrest to fix you up. We want to stink him up." In fall 2022, the Communist Party will convene its most important meeting, the 20th National Congress. The question of whether Xi will be able to win a third term as party leader has been widely discussed. In the midst of intense infighting among the party, the issue is not only about Xi's power, but also directly about his own life and death. The deformity and cruelty of this red system are probably inconceivable to those who live in another system.